2025 is going to be the year of the physician. If it's going to be for you is dependent on if you choose to evolve or not, which means I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to think differently. I'm going to act differently. If we refuse to act differently, refuse to think differently, refuse to invest in ourselves, it's just going to be same old, same old. And truthfully, it's probably going to be worse. Look at the signs in time. Look at the handwriting on the wall. It's probably going to be worse. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the EntreMD podcast. This is going to be an actual fun episode because we're going to talk about something that I've been talking about for the last almost 4 years at this point. And that is that 2025, which is the year in where at the time of this recording is the year of the physician. And so for you listening, this is your year. And I really want to invite you to listen to this with an open mind, to lean all the way in, to kind of imagine the things I'm going to talk about as being your reality, because that's what this year is all about, right? And so 2025 is your year, is the year of the physician, is the year when the narrative changes completely for physicians everywhere. This is going to be a year that will go down in history. It is a year we'll reference, like remember, like back in the day before 2025, like we're going to have statements like that. And some people are going to experience it. They're going to live it. It's going to be their reality. They're going to experience this alternate reality. And there are many people who will not. And the people who will not are people who will be cynical, people who believe it's not for them, people who think we're just blowing hot air, people who are like, oh, the system is too far gone and we're stuck and nothing can be done about it. And I really want to challenge you. If you've been like that at all, I want to challenge you to go like, okay, today's a brand new day. I have a brand new clean slate. And I want to kind of imagine that this could be my reality and work towards it. Because what's the alternative? The alternative is we stay stuck. We don't have any autonomy. We're burned out. We're replaced by every other type of clinician there is out there. We don't have financial freedom. And it's just bad. We can choose, like, even if you feel like I am stuck right now, we can choose that, no, I'm not going down like that. Right. Or, we run businesses that are bad businesses. We can't build teams and we can't have businesses that help a lot of people and make millions of dollars and all of that. And I just want to invite you to steer away. I want to paint a picture of an alternate reality, and I want to invite you to embrace it. Now, this alternate reality is not something that is, a pie in the sky, something that's never happened. It's something that is my reality now. It is something that is a reality for so many physicians that I've worked with, so many physicians in the EntreMD Business School. So that we have proof of concept. And the EntreMD Business School has been around for 4.5 years. I have been an entrepreneur for 14 years. And so we have proof of concept. We have proof of concept over time. And now that we have proof of concept, I'm opening up to the entire physician community like, okay, this is what can happen. This is what can happen. And I want you to invite you to say yes to it. Okay. So the year of the physician, 2025. What does that mean? It means that we're now at a stage where physicians experience 5 freedoms. And I want to tell you what those are. Okay. Now, the first freedom is the freedom to practice medicine on our terms, right? And so we're like, oh, everybody controls how we practice medicine and all of that. But I have so many clients who have gone on to build private practices where they're in control of how they practice medicine, what is aligned with what their goals are for themselves, for their family and things like that. I have people who work jobs who still learned, they're still my clients, but they love their jobs and this is what they're doing. And so they train as entrepreneurs and they're able to negotiate again so they can practice medicine on their terms. Okay, so 2025 is that year where physicians will have the freedom to practice on their terms. And I want you to embrace that. Okay, I'm going to be able to practice medicine on my terms. The second freedom is the freedom to live life on their terms, right? And so what happened when we started the EntreMD Business School and started working with the physicians, they started building these businesses, but we carried over this mentality of if I want something, I have to put everything on my life on hold. I have to give up my dreams and all of that to go for it, because for many of us, that's what we did for medical school. That's what we did for residency training, for fellowship and all of those things. And I said, no, not this time. This time we're going to build our dream businesses. But that's why you're in the EntreMD Business School. But we're also going to build our dream lives at the same time. Now, what that means is, well, I have a version of my business that I have right now. And I can also have a version of my dream life that I live right now. And as I get better, as I acquire new skills, I've been in the game longer and all of those things, then I have a second version of my dream business, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. And I have the next version of my dream life, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 as well. So that's why you hear us say that we are building dream businesses and our dream lives concurrently. Right. And so there are so many doctors who will tell you, for the first time, I was able to go on a vacation for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. We had a doctor who joined the business school halfway through last year. And in the last 5 months of the year, she took 6 weeks off and made almost double the revenue she made in the first half of the year. We have people who are going to school to have lunches with their kids. We have a doc who it was very important to her that she didn't miss any of her kids' activities. And she did not miss any of her kids' activities. That is the version of the dream life that they were living at the time. We have a doc who's like, my dad is getting older. I just want to go visit him once a quarter. He lived in a different state and he was able to go and visit his dad once a quarter. Every single quarter, he would drive down to go spend time with his dad. That is them living life on their terms. Okay. So what does this mean for you? Practicing medicine on your terms, living life on your terms. What is the third freedom? Is time freedom. Time freedom. We wear our not having time and being super busy and putting everything on hold as a badge of honor, which in our training, there's an element of that is needed, but oh my goodness, not now, right? Not now. And so we really challenge our doctors, to buy back their time. You buy back your time by delegating. You buy back your time by eliminating stuff. You buy back your time by finding out the activities that you and only you can do and leaning in all that, using your time strategically. And I'm telling you, that's what many of them did. They bought their time back. Why? Because time is a currency of freedom, really. It's time you need to spend time with your spouse, to spend time with your family, to spend time with your aging parents, to spend time to learn a new skill, to spend time to invest in a hobby. Like all of these things require time, right? And so it's very important. We have significant training, like a lot of training we do on how to manage time, how to get things off your plate and all of that. The fourth freedom is financial freedom. And this is where you build your business and you build a business that can create financial freedom for you. And so if somebody were to come to you, like this happened a lot where people say, oh, they decided not to renew my contract at a job I was working. And we'll all go like, whoopee, now you can do what you really want to do. Why is that? Because there's financial freedom. There's financial freedom. You're in control of your finances. We are described as professionals who have golden handcuffs on. Right. So we have these, salaries and they're just enough that we don't cough. We don't do anything. Right. Like, because the handcuffs are there. We just need to keep them on. And even as people who are running very successful businesses, if you don't understand the rules of the game, you can even build a business that's a multi-million-dollar business, but there's no financial freedom attached to it because the profit margins are so abysmal, right? And so financial freedom is something that, we really go into. In fact, the later part of last year, we introduced something we called RevCon in the EntreMD Business School, where we just come and talk about the money. Like, this is my goal. This is where I am. This is the challenge that I'm facing. How do we fix it? And boom, we're just going one after the other because we don't treat money as a taboo. We don't treat it as a topic we don't talk about, right? And we're going to take it up a whole notch. They don't even know what's coming in the school, but they'll see. And we're going to take it up a whole notch, right? So we have financial freedom. And you might say, well, I'm paid well. I should be content with that. This is the deal though. We invested multiple six figures in a medical education. And there's nothing wrong with having an ROI on that. We don't put money before people, but money is right there, right? Money is right there. And we're not going to shy away from it. Shying away from it is what got us where we are. Okay. So the fourth freedom is financial freedom. And the fifth freedom is my favorite freedom. And that is the freedom of purpose. That means that, I have built a life where I am free to pursue what my passions are. Passion is not quite the word, but there is this sense that this is why I am here on this earth. This is the good I need to do in the world. This is the legacy that I want to leave. But until you figure out the financial freedom and the time freedom, you don't get the right to chase down your purpose, right? Because you have to take care of those other two things. And so imagine being in a state where you have freedom of purpose. You have freedom to pursue purpose. And for me, what I do in EntreMD is part of me fulfilling why I think I'm alive. What I do when I'm pastoring, that's what I'm fulfilling why I think I'm alive, is just a magical place to be in where you are just 100% in alignment with why you're here. And 2025 is that year where doctors begin to walk in these five freedoms, where this becomes more of the norm, where this becomes the narrative for physicians everywhere, and where the life that most physicians live now becomes optional. Like, you don't have to do that. You can have an alternate reality. You can have these five freedoms, right? Now, are these five freedoms going to drop in our lap? They're not. There are things that must be done. There is a price to pay. And I have paid it. And I have so many clients who have paid it. And it is so worth it. Okay. There's a reason why the EntreMD Business School has been around for 4.5 years. And there's a reason why 4.5 years later, there are people who have been in the school the entire time and have not left. And I mean, it's because it's such a magical place where this takes you to. And they understand now, like if I pay this price that I'm going to tell you about and I keep paying it, things are just going to keep getting better and better and better. So many of them are in phases where they're like, I cannot believe that I'm this person. Like when you think about somebody going from employed physician to running a $2.5 million, $3 million business in 3 years, that is just nuts. When you see someone doubling their revenue in 6 months, that is just nuts. When you see a physician coach who's like, oh my goodness, I just had my first $200,000 a year, that is nuts. When you see someone say, I just hit $1 million in revenue, it's crazy. But there's a process. There's a price to pay. Okay. And I want to show you what it is because I don't want you to be ignorant of it. Okay. And the price to pay is your personal evolution. I have seen so many doctors say, I just want to hire somebody, that will do all my marketing and organize my business and all that stuff. Really what that person is saying, I want to stay the same and I want to throw money at this problem and make it go away. I promise you it doesn't work. I have been an entrepreneur for long enough and I have coached enough physicians for long enough to tell you that it does not work. Okay. You can get the template. You can bring on the hire. There are people who say, I don't want to have anything to do with marketing. I just want to bring on a marketer. You will never know if they're doing a good job or not. You will never be able to lead them. They're not going to be able to get your voice out of you because you don't want to do the work for it. Never going to have a message that's so authentic that drives people to follow you. Like they're not going to be able to build you a dominant brand because your input is required. People are like, I don't want to talk about the money. I'm just going to get a good biller. You're never going to know if they're doing a good job or not. You're never going to be able to hold them accountable. You're never going to be able to hold them to higher standards because you don't know what they should be doing in the first place. Right? So people, they would like to pay to make it go away. They'd like to get a consultant who will bring a template and just, build out their business, but not change. Your personal evolution is a requirement. Your personal evolution is a requirement. This is the price to pay. You must become different. You must become different. And when I say different, I don't mean you change at your core, but what I mean is that the way you think is different. Your expectations are different. The way you act is different. This all has to change. This is the hard work of entrepreneurship. So there's something that happened, when I first started the EntreMD Business School, and people will stay in and, that after 3 or 6 months, they're like, okay, I got everything I need and I'm out. And I'll try and talk with them and it hurt my heart. It didn't hurt my heart because I'm losing a client. It hurt my heart because I'm like, oh my goodness, they're aborting the process. And that's not to say, I just want to be very clear. I recognize that as a quote unquote problem that I have, right? Like that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with anybody leaving or anything like that. Like, I hope nobody takes it that way. It's something that I've had to work on for myself because this is the problem I have. The problem I have is like, quote unquote, the problem I have is when I meet somebody and they start their journey of entrepreneurship, I can see 10 years ahead. I can see, oh my goodness, if they continue on this trajectory, what can happen and all that. And so sometimes people are wondering like, why is she so excited that I just got my first, $10,000 in revenue? What's the problem? Why is she so excited I hit my first million? Now that's very exciting, right? And all, but I'm like over the top is because I know that this makes the next thing possible, which makes the next thing possible. So I'm already like 10 years ahead. Like when I'm 10 years ahead and someone's like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, no, don't do it. Right. So that's a me thing. But what started happening is, now I'm so grateful the school has been around for a while. It's been around for 4.5 years at this point. And so people then come, maybe they've been in the school for 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, 4 years. And they're like, the first year in the school was really all about me becoming an entrepreneur. It was all about fixing the way I thought about things. It was all about helping me overcome the mindset drama. And it was really in year 2 that things began to take off or, or whatever. But they recognized the internal work is the real work, is the hard work. That's what my zone of genius is helping physicians go from physician to physician entrepreneur, becoming the person. And so that's why I would tell them, I'm like, so many of you are going to be serial entrepreneurs because you didn't come into the school and learn how to start a practice or, take your practice to 7 figures or multiple 7 figures. You came into the EntreMD Business School to learn to become an entrepreneur first, and then you acquired the strategies of entrepreneurs. and the habits and all of that stuff. So you become the person who builds businesses. That's just what you do because you're an entrepreneur. Like you're like completely revamped, if you will. So your personal evolution is required. Your personal evolution, you changing is required. So hanging on to who you've been, hanging on to your old way of doing things, is going to hurt you. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you your 5 freedoms. That's too expensive, if you ask me, right? Okay. So your personal evolution, this is a must. This must happen. You must embrace this. You must say, okay, who I've been has brought me to where I am. Who I'm going to become, me 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, is going to take me into these 5 freedoms. And it is 1,000% worth it, right? Okay. Your personal evolution is what is required. And let me tell you 3 things, like 3 things that are required here. Okay. The first thing as far as your personal evolution goes is that you got to be willing to invest in yourself. I don't know what other way to say this, but you have to be willing to invest in yourself. You've heard me tell my story many times of, the first time I got introduced to this whole concept of investing in yourself. Like I'd read books, I'd listened to podcasts, I've done all of those things, even had, like some courses that I had done and things like that. But as far as being in a container for a year, this particular one was 10 months and just doing the work week in, week out, being held accountable, being in the community, all of those things. I'd never done anything like that. I never even knew it existed. And so the first opportunity I had to do it is kind of like anybody who's come in contact with us or come in contact with our events or podcasts and stuff like that. I went for an event. I was there. It was a 3-day event. And the first 2 days were like literally magical. I could not believe the things that I had learned, the things I had started doing, the way of thinking that was completely expanded. And I remember like, okay, I'm going to go do all the things, right? That's what we say. I've read the book. Now I'm going to go do the thing. I've watched the course. Now I'm going to go do the thing. And at the end of it, there was like, oh, you can come work with us. And the investment for working with us is only $43,000. And I remember being so upset. I was like, $43,000? Like, what did they do? Lace the program with gold? Like, what in the world? And maybe upset was not the word. I was shocked. I was confused. I was like, what? But I'm so grateful that I stopped and I said, but in 2 days, right? In 2 days, the level of transformation I've experienced doesn't even make sense. It's so wild, right? And, I talked to my husband. My husband's like, yeah, go for it, and it's not like I had $43,000 sitting somewhere, and so I got in on that program and I've not stopped investing in myself since then, right? Like I recognize when I want to change, I have to invest in myself and put myself in a container that makes the change inevitable. My husband and I joke about it and we say that, wow, this is the best money that we've ever spent, right? Like best $43,000 ever. And so there's the books, there's a podcast, there's workshops. We are committed. We're going to do a workshop a year. In fact, at the time of this recording, so if you're listening to this, right when it was released, we have a workshop that's happening called the Profitable Private Practice Workshop. With all the challenges in private practice, I know that left to itself, there's so many more private practices that are going to go out of business this year than last year. And we want to help stall that. Like if you want to win, we want to help you win. And it all starts with a workshop. And it's called the Profitable Private Practice Workshop. It's EntreMD.com/workshop, January 13th to the 15th. So go save your spot. And beyond saving your spot, whether you're a private practice or not, my goodness, take the link and share it with you don't even have to self-select. You don't have to worry if they want to do it or whatever. Just take the link and share it with everybody who's in private practice. Why? Because all hands are needed on deck to bring the change that we need to bring to the physician community. Okay. So we have books, we have workshops, we have the podcast, we have events, we have EntreMD Live that's coming up, and we have the EntreMD Business School. We have like a gazillion ways of helping people, right? We have a gazillion ways. And we do all 5 things. Why? Because all 5 things work. And that's part of the investment, like time, resources, money that you need to make so you can experience that personal evolution. The second thing is that you have to make a commitment that I'm going to think differently. Like holding on to the old ways of thinking is just going to hurt us, right? Like, yes, we build businesses and we don't make any money. No, like absolutely not. Why would you leave your family, go to work every day to go do a business that will make no money only so you can go work another job to make no money? Now, there is a phase in your business where you will have to self-fund and things like that. I'm not referring to that. I'm just referring to willfully agreeing to run a business that doesn't make money. No, right? There are thoughts like, oh, as a physician coach, you can never replace your physician's salary. That is not true. That is not true. There's evidence that there's like, absolutely, that is not true. right? We have to get rid of that, right? The expectation that, oh, I can't build a rock star team. I can't build. No, I'm not a great entrepreneur. No, we have to get rid of all those ways of thinking because they don't help us. They don't help us at all. The way of thinking of, I suck at marketing. What do you mean? You sucked at everything that you do excellently now as a physician. Like you sucked at all of it. You just decided this is what needs to happen and I'm going to get good at it. Right? It's the same thing for entrepreneurship. You're also going to make a commitment that you're going to act differently. Right? Like, so people tell me things like, well, I've never talked to a referral source before. I've never been on social media before. I've never raised my prices before. I've never hired a physician before. I've never hired a business manager before. Okay. There's always a first time. Let's make it the first time because we're going to need to act differently. We must evolve if 2025 is going to be the year of the physician. It's going to be. If it's going to be for you is dependent on if you choose to evolve or not, which means I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to think differently. I'm going to act differently. Okay. If we refuse to act differently, refuse to think differently, refuse to invest in ourselves, it's just going to be same old, same old. And truthfully, it's probably going to be worse. Right? Like, look at the signs of the time. Look at the handwriting on the wall is probably going to be worse. Okay. So this is the opportunity we have is the year of the physician if we choose. This is available if we choose. And oh my goodness, I hope you're saying yes to this and you're choosing. We've talked about the price that you're going to need to pay. You are going to need to evolve, which means you're going to invest in yourself. You're going to act differently. You're going to think differently. What is my commitment to you? What is the commitment of EntreMD to you? What is the commitment of Dr. Una to you? My commitment is I'm going to do everything humanly possible to see this become your reality. We are going to have the best events that we've ever had. We are going to release the most impactful podcast episodes that we ever had. We are going to release 3 very powerful books this year, right? And we already have 4 others that are going to completely rock your world. The EntreMD Business School, we're taking it up a whole notch. I had been looking forward to the first person who will say I had $1 million month. We got that last year. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I've been waiting for this. We are going to help our people get much bigger results, right? Dream business at a much bigger level, dream life at a much bigger level, right? That's my commitment. My commitment is I am going to evolve relentlessly, consistently, like in the biggest way possible so I can be the biggest gift to the physician community, the biggest gift to you. I am going to do all I can to help you do what you need to do for this to be the year of the physician for you. Okay. So all I need from you is I need your commitment that you're going to evolve. Like I am going to evolve radically. I'm going to radically evolve. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to think different. I'm going to act different. I want to invite you to come into, like, even if you're not sure, like, how can I work with the community? How can I work with Dr. Una? Right? Then I want to invite you. You can DM me and my team will be happy to take care of that. You can book a call with my team, entremd.com/call. You can send us an email, Dr. Una, DRUNA @entremd.com, like whichever way, and just say, okay, Dr. Una, I'm ready. I'm ready to invest in myself. I'm ready to take this to the next level. What are the options you have for me? Okay. Whether you are looking to take your business to your first $500,000, your first $1 million, you want to add $1 million, which we have clients who have done, like, we're here for you. Okay. We are here for you together. We are going to make 2025 the year of the physician for you. We are going to make these 5 freedoms your reality. Okay. So I want you to lean into that. I want you to understand what is available to you. I want you to believe that it is for you. I want you to get rid of feeling stuck, being a victim. Oh, it sucks. All of that stuff, and embrace this thought that, my goodness, this is my year. Right? This is my year. I want to see you win that way. I'm rooting for you. Oh my goodness. I am rooting for you. So say yes. Say yes. Make a decision to evolve. And I cannot wait to celebrate the 5 freedoms being your reality at the end of this year. Okay? So rooting for you always. Reach out to my team. We will support you in every way possible. And we will see you win. Rooting for you always. Don't forget to share this episode with another doctor, and I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast.